You're listening to the All Systems Go podcast, the show that teaches you everything you need to know to put your business on autopilot. Learn how to deploy automated marketing and sales systems in your business the right way with your host, the professor of automation himself and founder of Automation Bridge, Chris Davis.
Welcome to the All Systems Go podcast. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder and chief automation officer of Automation Bridge, where we focus on turning digital marketing professionals into automation service providers by teaching them marketing and sales automation. And if you'd like to become one or find out if you should become one, an automation service provider, that is, we've got a new quiz, a brief quiz that takes less than 2 minutes, and it will tell you exactly that. You can find that at automationbridge.com/ASP. If you're new to the podcast, make sure you listen to this episode in its entirety so you know the value, the gem of knowledge that you'll be receiving every Thursday when we release a new episode. At the time of recording, the All Systems Go podcast is free to subscribe to. And you can find the show in all main podcasting apps like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can even subscribe on YouTube. So once you've listened to this episode in its entirety, make sure that you subscribe. For those of you who are listeners and just haven't subscribed yet for whatever reason, what are you waiting for? Now is the time. Now is the time. While you're at it, a 5-star rating and review is greatly appreciated. It helps vet the All Systems Go podcast as the podcast to listen to subscribe to get the exclusive and specialized knowledge on marketing automation. So you can leave a review in any of those podcasting apps, or if you would like for us to post a review for you, you can go to automationbridge.com/review. In this episode, I want to talk about the role that automation plays with paid advertising. Both require a careful, detailed approach that is often overlooked or unknown for success. And time again, I keep seeing entrepreneurs make some critical mistakes, and it all stems from a lack of understanding how the two correlate, operate, and work with one another. So I want to talk about that. I want to discuss that in this episode. And when you think about it, the expectations of advertising is often a misguided one. And for me, the most commonly, and this is just in my experience, I see entrepreneurs who just, they rely on it too early. It's hoping that they can throw money at their lead generation problems, with an expectation that things will just work out. And the truth is this: you can throw money at it, but it doesn't guarantee that it will work. And that's the part that throws me and hurts me, I should say, when I see good entrepreneurs. I mean, people who really deserve to win. And they're like, I need leads. Oh, paid ads. Let me get some money and pour it in. And they are so hoping that it works. And I know these people because I used to be that. I used to be the one with my back against the wall, ready to throw thousands of dollars at a problem, hoping that it would solve it. And the reason why, and the truth is, it didn't solve it. It did not, until I got a more systematic approach, more detailed, and a more educated approach. And here's why. I'll be honest with you. And for those of you who are paid media experts listening to this, tell me if I'm right or wrong. I am serious. Email, go to the website, leave a comment, share it on Facebook and say, hey, this guy really got it wrong on this one, because I've been around the block. I've been around enough. And truth be told, paid advertising professionals are required. They're needed. So I've had to engage with them on many levels to understand exactly how they operate in order to also understand how to build a system to complement their operation. And to the point where the entrepreneur is just hoping to throw money at the problem with paid advertising, keep their fingers crossed that it works. The reason why it's not necessarily working, because there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more that's involved. And some of you, this podcast is about to save you from wasting thousands of dollars. I know me, my hand is up. I've wasted over $20,000 easily within a couple months in advertising. So I've got the wounds to share, to show. I'm not talking from an aspirational I read in a magazine. This was real deal. And there are certain steps that you have to take in order to become profitable. So the problem is most people don't know. They have no expectation of preparation with approaching a advertising agency or an expert. And I want to break down how most commonly you'll see this work. And most experts, what they do is they require a sizable investment and some profit or rev share while you take care of all of the ad spend. So, maybe if you get a deal, they'll say, hey, look, we're not going to charge you monthly, but you're going to need to pay for all the ads. And then once you start making profit, we're going to take a percentage of that. That's probably the most common setup. But then you have some that require a monthly fee on top of that. Okay. And this has to be consistent. You're not going to be able to work with an agency that allows you to just start and stop. Like, oh, hey, it's been 3 days. It's not working. Stop. Because you have to commit to pay to play. Facebook is set up to the point, and I'm using Facebook as an example. Of course, you can run paid advertising on other platforms, but Facebook is set up as such that they reward those who pay. When they see that you're paying consistently, you're always running, they'll give that algorithm that nobody knows how it works. They'll give you preferential treatment in that algorithm. Your reach will start expanding, right? And this commitment usually starts on the low end. When I'm telling you have to commit to pay to play, this is around the low end of anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month. If you don't have $5,000 to $7,000 a month to spend on paid advertising, you're not going to be able to expect that sizable return. Okay, this in itself. For a lot of service-based businesses or consultants that I speak with, you're charging $500, $600, $700 per client, just sorely undercharging. And now you can start to see why you haven't been able to scale, because you can't capitalize on paid advertising with those types of pricing for services that require your time. You just can't, because you're going to have to know that it's going to take anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 to get started. Okay. And again, that may or may not include your ad spend. There are some agencies that require you to spend a certain amount. And then what they'll do is they'll take a percentage of what you spend. So an agency will say, hey, look, in order for us to run your advertising, you've got to spend $10,000 a month. And of that $10,000, we get 7%. It's just part of it. It's part of it. And then again, they may double up and get some of the profit as well. So advertising is not a cheap sport. It's just not. So many configurations. There are some people that get more creative than others. I've met some professionals that will put up all of their money. They'll say, hey, look, you don't have to pay anything. We'll pay for that, for the ads. We'll pay for the landing page. We'll pay for the email follow-ups. We'll do all of that. But on the back end, you're going to give us 50%. We're partners now, right? You're going to give us a sizable rev share. So many configurations, guess what? All of them, for the most part, require money from you. Pretty much all of them require money from you, unless, of course, you learn how to do everything yourself. If you're into that type of thing, if you want to learn to do it yourself, just know you're committing to become a student. And can you do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you need to be connected with the right community. You need to be connected with the right people that can help you in understanding what to tweak, what to measure, how each of these platforms work. If we're, just the approach to Facebook and YouTube drastically different because intent is drastically different. So you want to get connected with a mentor or coach that specializes in the platform that you want to advertise on, and understand that when you put that hat on to learn advertising, something else is going to take a hit. You're not going to be able to do something else because your time needs to be focused and dedicated to learning this thing and doing it. That's a fair expectation for those of you that want to do it yourself. Absolutely can do it. But what about those who pay to play and get it right? What do they do differently? What's their approach? And as much as I've already discussed the approach you should have to paid advertising, the expectation, so you don't start prematurely and wonder why, scratching your head, it's not working. But let's look at what the businesses that get it right. How do they get it right? What do they do? There's three things. There's three things that I've identified that they do. Of course, there's more, everybody, but these are the top three that I found the most consistent from anybody generating 500,000, 250,000 consistently, 500,000, 800,000 to 1 million to millions. They all do these three things. So the first one is this: they know their audience. They know their audience. And I feel like this is becoming less and less of a gimme. Like for me as a marketer, you always start with knowing the audience. I love figuring out who my audience is and doing some market research, talking to my customer, testing language on them. As a marketer, I don't know, I like that stuff. But most people don't take the time to do the market research. They don't know the pains of the individuals in the market as well as the market as a whole. What are people trying? What are the alternatives? What are they really trying to accomplish? Whenever I'm talking to somebody, it's interesting to hear what they prescribe for themselves. Hey, I need to be doing this and I need to be using that. And hey, I need to be doing this. And when you take the time to step back and say, hey, what are you trying to do here again? What are you trying to achieve? And then when they say what they're trying to achieve, you realize, no, that's not the way. But I don't get that without doing the research and talking to my customer. Too many people want to just automate their way to success and eliminate all human touch that is undesirable to them. No, talk to your customer. Invite them to call your phone and pick up when they do, especially if you're early. If you're not super clear on who your avatar is, your audience, the pains, the trends, the holes, the opportunities. If you don't know that, talk to your customer. People love to talk to people who can solve their problems. Talk to them. And they have, so part of knowing their audience, they have a clearly defined avatar and targeting messaging to match. I didn't say avatars. Anytime I've seen really successful advertising, and I'm talking about if somebody gave you a grant and you needed to make that money work, you're going to target that one avatar. You're going to have so many angles for that avatar, so many different ways to talk about one product to that avatar that it would work. It will work. Most people don't even have an avatar, let alone singularly. Are they willing to focus on one in advertising to convert? Because when things don't work, it is so easy to create something else or switch and shift. So that's the first thing successful advertisers do is they know their audience. The second is they have a system. They have a system. Okay. Audience targeting maps directly to segments. So targeting in a platform is akin to segments in your CRM. Okay. And these segments need to be defined so that when you're targeting those segments, because segments exist within an avatar, right? I can have an avatar of somebody who works 9 to 5, has a family, is married, trying to get off their job, and is involved in leadership in their community. They take their kids to sports, and their dream is to retire their wife early. And the pain point is that they make just enough to need more, right? That could be an avatar. Now, segments within that avatar depends on what stage of life they're in. Maybe this is you're 22 and experiencing this. Maybe you're 35. Those are two different segments, same avatar. Okay. So that's what I mean. And for those of you who know my training and have gone through my program, they also have learned how to map segments to life cycles. Okay. So the life cycle of a customer journey and mapping segments and showing that correlation, that's what I'm talking about. So we've got a 3-layered approach, and an avatar that goes through a customer journey, which are life cycle stages, and within each life cycle stage is their segments. Let me just pause really quick. And when I'm talking about systems, do you understand what type of system I'm talking about now? I mean, being able to identify exactly where someone is at any point easily in the system, and having the paths prepared for every segment. Every move somebody can make should already have a path prepared. Okay. This is what I mean when I say they have a system. Now, not many people have this. You can be profitable with advertising without one. You're just going to pay more for it. That's all. In fact, everything that I'm telling you on this podcast is for efficiency purposes. I want you to pay the least amount as possible and make the biggest amount available. That's what I want you to do. So you could blow everything that I'm saying out the water if you had big pockets, big, deep pockets, because you're essentially going to pay to learn. You're just going to keep dumping money in to figure out what's working. And if your money is that long, if you've got that many zeros in your bank account, so be it. Many of the SaaS companies that I've helped, that I've worked for and worked with, they've had big banks. So yes, they can pay to play unlimited without even really converting much. You can't afford that. So you need to have a system. And when we're talking about systems, you have to understand that paid funnels look different than organic. Mistake that people make is that they may have this organic means, this organic a funnel that takes people that are reading the blog post, they opt in, then they go register for the webinar and XYZ. And then they say, okay, great, I'm just going to drive traffic to that blog post. Doesn't really work like that. It's not a one-to-one. It's not a one-to-one. Sometimes you may have to optimize that blog post. Maybe you got to put an exit intent pop-up on there. Maybe you have to reformat how it's written. Maybe you have to take that whole blog post and put it on a landing page, and maybe an abbreviated version, right? There are some tweaks that you're going to have to make depending on the platform that you're advertising on. If it's Facebook, these are people with short attention span. So if you've got a great article that people are searching for and reading, that does not mean somebody not searching for it is going to read it. They're not searching for your stuff. They're being interrupted. Now flip it to YouTube, where the intent is totally different. You're running advertising on YouTube. People are actually searching there. They're looking. They're in the mode of consuming. I want to consume information, right? So that would look different, both, regardless if it's Facebook or anything, Twitter, you can be advertising on anything. The point is, you're going to have to adjust that funnel to the source of traffic that's coming through it. Okay. And you need a way. You need a way to follow up and convert with every new lead that you pay to generate. Right? How you convert them, that the time it takes, right, to convert that new lead, it depends on the platform and your system. Your system has to account for that. Okay. The time to close. I've generated this lead. How long before I close? And how much did I make? And how long can I do this? Until I'm profitable or run out of money. Either way, right? Because the truth of the matter is this. If you've got killer lead gen on the front end, you've got you're crushing it, but you don't have a back end system, you're still hope marketing. You're putting money into the front end lead gen with hopes that they stay in there. It's like the leaky bucket. The leaky bucket, the bucket with the hole, is it doesn't matter how much water you're pouring into it. As long as that hole is there, it's not going to stay. It's going to empty out. Those leads are going to leak away without a system. The system is what prevents those leaky leads and further prevents you from participating in hope marketing. My desire is that nobody that listens to my podcast would have a degree in hope marketing. That you would know without a shadow of a doubt exactly what you're doing, who you're targeting, and when they say yes, where they're going and what they're going through. Okay. There's a whole let me just say, this podcast is very hard for me to record because there's so much strategy involved. There's so much that I'm leaving out from an automated systems perspective, a marketing automation perspective, right? How do you capture information on a landing page and then ask for more information on the thank you page without asking for the same information you just asked for, right? And how to make that seamless. Where do I put the webinar registration? If I'm driving to a webinar, do I drive them straight to the registration page, or do I drive them to an opt-in and put the registration page on the thank you page? Do I have a low offer, a self-liquidating offer on the front end to pay for my ad spend so that I can put more dollars into it? So much. I don't care the strategy. Just know you need a system. When they say yes, you better have a path for them to go down. Now, when we talk about strategy and the systems, oh my goodness, don't get me excited. This thing will be 5 hours long, right? But how do I take that information that I captured up front and put them down the fastest path to yes? For them. The system should adapt, should be dynamic to whatever information you're capturing. So a lot of people don't know how to capture information, then they don't know how to use it in an intelligent way to automate the paths of the leads that come into the system. It just is what it is. Now, with a system, there are no leaky leads. Everybody comes in, they have the greatest opportunity to convert as fast and early as possible. Right? So that's the second thing. They have a system. Third is they keep focusing on their customers. They never stop focusing on their customers. And that may sound like common sense, like, of course, you focus on your customers. Not in that way. I mean, they never stop marketing to their customer, right? The second you start converting customers, your focus should be on your customers, right? Each customer, what they do is they inform you more on your avatar, and such helps improve your targeting to find more just like them if you continue to talk to your audience, right? Do you see why I say focus on the customers? Because we haven't even talked about the second aspect is focusing on your customer can extend the lifetime customer value and offset your ad spend or your cost to acquire a lead, your CAC. Okay. If I'm spending $2,000 to generate a customer that's paying me $1,500 up front, I'm net negative $500, right? It took me $500 out of my pocket to get this customer. But what if in the duration of the next 3 months, that customer pays me $1,500 every month? That now means that I made $4,500 off of a $2,000 ad spend. I'm not negative 500. I'm positive a couple thousand, right? Right? And positive 2,500, honestly. You see that? But that's focusing on the customer. When I say focus on the customer, extend the lifetime customer value, lower your CAC, or I should say offset your CAC, your cost to acquire a customer. That does not mean just throw offers in front of your customer. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying take the time and create a strategic means of crafting offers and putting them in front of your customers in a way that makes sense and doesn't disrupt transformation. Okay, that's your job. You don't get to just create stuff and say, hey, since you bought this, buy that. You can do that at the risk of burning out your people. But you want to do it in a way that's complementary to the transformation that you promised. And this is really more so for service-based. For product-based, it's totally different. For product-based, we have subscriptions. We have like products, cross-selling, upselling, right? Hey, you bought this, so you may like this. It's so hard. Do you see why it's so hard for me to record podcasts like this? Because I've done so much. I've seen so much. And the second I say one thing for one, I'm thinking about the other 5, 10 other possibilities, right? But you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if it's service-based, product-based, high dollar, low ticket, whatever the case is. You need to stay focused on your customer and continue to deliver value. If you're going to spend to get the customer, you need to get as much to the customer so you can get as much from the customer as possible. Okay? And we have no shame in saying that. We want the customer to keep paying us, especially if we're delivering value. This is the second component of your system, the second most important component of your system. The first is nurturing new leads. The second is nurturing customers into repeat customers. And guess how long you do that? Forever. You never stop. What would be the reason to stop? Let me ask you this. How deep does your system go? How long can you get people to continue to pay you? What does that system look like? Just ongoing payments. What does it look like for you? What could it look like for you? What should it look like for you? All right. And this is all relative. This is all relative to how large you want to go and how much you're willing to pay to play. All of that, right? But you have to understand that done correctly, you will lower your reliance on ads for profitability and transition that reliance on ads for scaling. And that's why I said it's optional, or I should say it's relative, because some people want to scale to 10 million. Best believe they're going to be spending more than $10,000 a month on advertising, right? Maybe somebody else wants to scale to 350,000, right? Totally different. But the key is, me personally, paid advertisers who love this stuff, maybe they think differently, but I would rather not have to rely on ads as my lifeline. I would like to leverage them for scale. So if the advertising doesn't bring in another dollar, I've got a system in place that's converting organic leads, and it's taking my customers and turning them into repeat buyers time and time again. That if something happened, Facebook broke, YouTube goes down, Twitter stops, wherever you can advertise, you can't advertise anymore. I'm still making money and I'm still profitable. That's the goal for advertising, everybody. That's your insurance. Is that you build a system smart enough to keep you profitable without the ad spend, the same system that leveraged the ad spend. Because again, now I've got profitability locked in and I can really just focus on scaling. This is a different conversation. Some of you, I know you're just trying to get your first $2,500 a month locked in. I get it. I get it. Some of you, maybe you're at 20K a month. You've got a team. That 20K don't feel like 20K. So I've met entrepreneurs that made $1 million in a calendar year and did not feel anywhere near a millionaire, anywhere near it, mainly due to the cost of the ongoing cost of advertising and not having a back-end system that truly optimizes the customer journey. Okay. Automation and ads can go hand in hand. In fact, they do. And I always recommend, I said it earlier, I always recommend start, if you're just getting started in business and you don't have money like that, even if you did have money like that, I always like to start with some organic means as much and convert doing that as much as possible before jumping in. Now, some of you may just say, hey, look, I want to just start and pay, $10 a day. I'm kind of savvy. I just want to kind of test the waters. So be it. Perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is most people are not that savvy when it comes to paid advertising to be able to pay to validate an idea. So with that, use your organic efforts. Be featured on somebody's podcast. Write content for somebody. Do a live training in someone else's community. Right? There's so many organic ways that you can really start to test out your business, your messaging, all of that. That costs nothing but your time and strategic effort. So automation and ads, they do. It's not a can. They do go hand in hand. You've got to have an automated system if you're going to run ads because your ad profitability relies on it. Okay. When they go hand in hand like that, you've got a systematic way of generating leads through advertising and then a systematic way of converting those leads. When they do, scale is inevitable. Scale is just a matter of when. When they don't, watch this. When they don't go hand in hand, you just can't seem to get the ads right. Okay, I want to turn that off. When they don't go hand in hand, guess what? You can still work the system. That system that you're building through advertising is still going to work. Now, here's the kicker. A funnel that you've created for paid advertising is more apt to work for organic traffic or marketing efforts than organic marketing efforts would work for paid advertising. So that means, all in all, you never lose with the system, whether you're paying for advertising or not. It's the ultimate can't lose, because when those ads go off, that system stays on. And what the system needs, what it's looking for, is just another source. Feed me. Are you feeding me Facebook leads? I don't care where they come from. LinkedIn leads? Okay, feed me. Right? And by work the system, mean pay attention to it, tweak it, optimize it. Right? Automated systems don't run ads without one, my friends. Please do not run advertising without an automated system to back you up, offset your cost to acquire a customer, extend lifetime customer value, move you from profitability to scale, move you from relying on ads to live to eating comfortably off your profit generated from the same customers that the ads brought in. Okay. Now, this was a comprehensive, in 30 minutes, my task was to break down advertising and automation. I hope I did that. I hope I gave you the proper perspective so you know what it takes and you know what's required to be profitable. You have a system in place. Paid advertisers will love you. Paid advertising professionals do not enjoy writing email. They do not enjoy setting up your CRM, but they love it when you've done it. They love it when you've done it. Okay, so hopefully you've learned a lot. And some of you, hopefully I've talked off the edge of jumping in deep with paid media with your fingers crossed, hoping that water that you're diving into is water. It's late at night, right? It looks like water. It may be tar. We don't want that. Don't dive in the tar. Come on now. right? Hopefully this opened your eyes and let you know, okay, I was about to do this. Let me back up, get my stuff in order. What should you do if you were about to jump off, thinking you're getting into the water? What should you do? I just saved you. Well, you should focus on getting a system in place, period. 100% focus on getting a system in place. Of course, I train digital marketers on how to do this. So I've got resources to do so. But if you want to do it yourself, I've got proprietary curriculum that shows you that. All right. But answer me this. Who needed to hear this? Who do you know is spending money on advertising? And every time you look at their status, it just doesn't seem to change. Right? If anything, they're more frustrated than they are excited. Make sure you share this episode with them. And if you found value in today's episode, make sure that you are subscribed. If you're a new listener and this was your first episode, now is the time to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review while you're doing it. Here at Automation Bridge, we're dedicated to training digital marketing professionals to become automation service providers. We do this by teaching them the skills of marketing and sales automation so that they can more aptly and proficiently take your business strategy, your marketing strategy, and combine it with the right technology to build a automated system specific to your business need. Okay. That's what an automation service provider does. If you would like to become one or determine, or maybe you're unsure and you're like, would I make a good one? We've got a quiz for you. Not 2 minutes will help you decide. It will also help you decide what path to go on, by the way. If you're like, hey, let me just take it and I'm not a good fit, but look, I should do this next. That's at automationbridge.com/ASP. We've made it easy for you to get access to everything, the resource I just mentioned, as well as everything else by visiting allsystemsgopodcast.com. There's one URL to remember. You're like, man, I can't remember what he said. allsystemsgopodcast.com. And that gets you access to the latest episodes, access to our Amplify My Automation package that puts automated marketing and sales systems in your business over the next 6 months. Okay. Sound systems. We talk about it today. You can get access to our free Facebook group. You can request or refer someone to be a guest for the podcast. And any resource or training mentioned on the podcast, one URL to remember, get you access to it all. And that's allsystemsgopodcast.com. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. And until next time I see you online, automate responsibly, my friends.